This is Brittany Ryder, Group Task 1. I'm your teacher, Brittany Ryder. This is the class for communicating effectively with children. If there is an evacuation, your exit is this way. And if you feel like you need a break, just let me know. We can have a break and your toilets are that way. Does anyone have any questions so far? No? Okay. The first point we'll be going through is how do we communicate effectively with children? Firstly, you would get down on their level and give them consistent eye contact. Giving the children your full attention while communicating will make them feel more confident while communicating with you and make them feel like you're giving them your full attention. Focusing on their body language as well as your own body language. So if they're in on themselves, they feel uncomfortable, and if they're more open and make eye contact with you, it means they're comfortable. And your body language matters too. Like if you're trying to do other tasks while they're talking to you, they don't feel like they're your center of attention, so might not feel comfortable communicating with you. What does ineffective communication look like? That would be towering above the child and not giving them eye contact while they're communicating with you. Completing other tasks like I said before while the child's trying to have a conversation. Not answering the child obviously isn't effective communication. And facing away from the child while they're communicating or looking bored or uninterested. Does anyone have any questions yet? Or anything they'd like to add? No? Okay. Has anyone heard of what an open-ended question is before?
I think so. Doesn't it mean that you have to give an answer? You can't say yes or no.
That's right. So the definition of an open-ended question is a question that cannot be answered with a simple yes or no response. It requires the respondent to provide a detailed explanation or answer in their own words instead of choosing from a set predetermined option. So if you were to say, what's your favorite color, purple, green or red, but what if their favorite color is blue? Like you would just ask them, what's your favorite color? Not give them a set of answers for your question. An example is, what is the most interesting part of your day? Whereas if you were to say, was your day good or bad? That's closed-ended. But asking what was the most interesting part of your day or how was your day is open. How did you do that? Or how were you feeling? They're all open-ended. Because if you were to say, are you feeling happy or sad? That's closed. But if you were to say, how are you feeling? They might be feeling embarrassed or scared or excited. Like, you can't give them options. Otherwise, it's closed. Any questions? No? What are closed-ended questions? The definition of that is a question that requires the respondent to choose from a set list of predefined answers, typically providing a limited number of choices like yes or no. Some examples of closed-ended questions would be, do you like red or green? Was your day good or bad? Do you want to go to the beach or the pool? What if they don't want to swim at all? What if they want to go to the park? Giving them those set answers makes it a closed-ended question. Does that make sense? Okay.
I suppose in childcare sometimes it would be good to keep it closed
Yeah, some is.
because sometimes they can tell you too many things. So if you only want them to do one or the other.
Yeah, you give them set options and they can choose from the options, that's right. Why are open-ended questions important? Asking open-ended questions is an interactive method that not only helps children discover more meaning from their experiences, but also enhances their emotional well-being and encourages engaging children in meaningful conversations. It helps with their language too. It allows a child to give more detail in conversation. They enhance language development from a young age, and it promotes creativity when engaging in experiences. That's the advantages of open-ended questions. And that is the end of the slide. Any questions yet? Or we'll go straight to the worksheet. Okay. So this worksheet is just, it gives you questions. So what do you think of school? Or do you think that's open or closed? And I'll go through them with you too. So that's for you. So the first question, do you think that would be open or closed?
I think it would be open.
That's right. When do you go to sleep?
Open.
Open. How would you describe pizza? Open. What is a teacher? Who is a teacher is closed, yes, because there's only one answer that can be.
She's like the color green.
That's closed.
Tell me about your family is open.
That's right. What do you like activity for fun would be open to.
Yeah.
What is your favourite colour?
I think closed, but there is a lot of,
Yeah.
so it's a bit of both.
So you
isn't
could
it?
say open/closed. That's right. That was the trick one, but not trick. Because you're limiting the conversation to colour, but you're also not giving them options so they can pick. So it's a bit of both.
And they can explain why it's their favourite.
That's right. Yeah. Where did you last vacation that would be open to? Does anyone have any questions about what the answers are or should be or
No.
no? Could I also get you to write your name and the date on the top too, please?
That's fine.
Is it open or open? Open.
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 Open or closed.
Open. Yeah.
Sorry, just our name
Yep, and the date.
and date. Today's date.
Today is the 4th, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4th. And then just pass these back to me, I'll take those. Thank you. And our last worksheet, I guess, will be the advantages and disadvantages of both. So before we start, what do you think an advantage of a closed-ended question would be?
Close, you get a direct answer.
That's
like
right.
Just the one.
Yeah,
response.
like if you only wanted one response, a closed-ended question would be good. Lots of times when a child does the wrong thing, you use closed-ended questions, like, well, at the start you would say, why did you do that? Obviously that's open. But then if you were to then say, does he look happy or sad that you did that? Like you would ask them closed-ended questions in that way. So closed-ended questions give you more direct responses. What would disadvantages be of closed-ended questions?
You only get a specific answer.
That's right. Advantages of open-ended questions.
You get what they're thinking. They have to think about the answer.
Yeah. And it promotes language development too. Promotes creativity. And what would a disadvantage be of an open-ended question?
Sometimes the child might feel overwhelmed, perhaps,
Mm.
not be able to think of an answer if they're not given an answer.
That's right. Anything else? No? So we'll just write those down. Here. just your name and the day up the top too. If anyone needs help, just let me know too. Community.
So close the ended questions, answered with yes or no, or one word answers. So the advantages.
The advantages of a closed-ended question would be, you get direct answers from the children,
Yeah.
and you get like, if you're looking for one response, they don't go off on a tangent. You get one or the other, so that would be an advantage. Yeah.
Go to the bathroom.
Sure.
Okay.
That's fine. It's just down the hall.
Great. Thank you very much.
All good. Does anyone else need a bathroom break? No?
So with younger children, it would be better to use a closed-ended question, wouldn't it?
It would be.
Yes. You get a much more honest answer.
Yeah.
And they understand the question better, is that right?
Definitely.
And I suppose the question wouldn't be
That's right.
Yeah.
They want to understand a lot more.
Closed-ended questions.
Mm-hmm.
For a disadvantage, the child may struggle to. Will a child struggle to
With the
answer?
closed-ended question.
Yeah.
Maybe if their answer doesn't align with the options you've given them, they might struggle because
Yeah.
they might not relate to any of them. That's right.
So, if you asked a open-ended question and you really weren't getting the response you wanted,
Mm-hmm.
could you then close it, then change it around so it was a closed?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
You could do that. You could start off by, I guess, asking your child what they wanted to do today, for an example. And then if they kind of gave too broad of what they wanted to do, you could then circle back to and then say, would you rather do maybe messy play or water play?
Right, yeah.
And then they could choose from those two options if they got overwhelmed by the question, like they didn't know what they wanted to do, or what they wanted to do wasn't suitable for childcare, like say they wanted to ride their bike, you could then circle it back and say, well, we could ride bikes at school, we have bikes here, or when you get home you could ask if you could ride your bike, like you could then circle it back to be a closed
So
question.
it's not the wrong thing to do, it's
No.
not like you're cutting them down,
No.
or if they're taking too long to answer, you could,
You could help them,
yeah,
that's right.
okay.
Does anyone else need a bathroom break while we're waiting? No?
The disadvantages of an open-ended question.
Disadvantages of an open-ended question would be, the child might feel overwhelmed,
So
by,
how do you deal with that?
well, you'd ask them a closed-ended question instead. Like
Right.
the example I gave before, asking them what they wanted to do for the day, they might feel overwhelmed by that, so then you could just give them some examples, which would be closed. No. Lots of times people will say closed-ended questions not are wrong, but open-ended questions are better, which is true. But that's not to say closed-ended question is wrong. Like sometimes you can only ask a closed-ended question in a situation.
And for young children, the closed-ended would be much more appropriate,
Yes,
wouldn't they?
it would
That they
be.
haven't developed
The
proper
ability
language,
to
yeah.
problem solve, or
Yeah.
that's right. So as you can see by your answers, there are advantages and disadvantages to each of the questions. There's no right and there's no wrong. Does anyone have any questions regarding it before we move on, or are we all okay? Okay. Well, I'll get your papers back. Thank you. That's the end of our lesson. So I'll see you guys back here again tomorrow.
Thank you.
All
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.